Hey, what's up, meatballs? Mr. Meat Hook here. Time once again for me to do Wild Eye Wednesday. I do apologize if you were looking forward to Wild Eye Wednesday last week. Life got in the way and I missed it. But this week, I am here as promised to do Lifeform, however you want to call it. I call it Lifeform, but it could be Lifeform. I don't know. But Lifeform is a 2019 horror sci-fi movie directed by Brian Shivo. Judging by the cover, I expected it to be something along the lines of like Splice or Species, something like that. As it turned out, it wasn't anything like either. Definitely not like Species. Maybe a little more like Splice. Basically, they are doing stem cell research, injecting stem cells into some patients that have had physical problems. It fixes their problems, but it also causes them to start to mutate and murder people. I don't even know where to start with this. It's really bad. And with Wild Eye, I know that movies are going to be either really bad or they're going to be not good, but at least fun. This one here, in the very first shot, you get awful wigs. Awful wigs on a couple of women. You know, let me say this. It says, according to IMDb, that the budget for this film is $250,000. So for $250,000, I expect it to be okay. But these were like Spirit Halloween wigs, and that's not what I expect for that kind of budget. And I seriously believe that budget is super overinflated and that it's not actually anywhere near that. Maybe 10% of that, tops. But I could be wrong. I don't know. I'm not the filmmakers. I don't know what they paid for it. But with that kind of budget, I honestly believe that it was either money laundering or it was a front for selling drugs. Because there's no way, based on what I know about independent cinema, which is quite a bit, that movie was $250,000. So a lot of the shots, and I mean probably 60 to 80% were out of focus. A whole lot of out of focus shots. Lens flares out the ass. Like, so many lens flares that if J.J. Abrams were to watch this movie, he would say, holy fuck, that is an egregious amount of lens flares. It's just like overwhelming, the amount of lens flares. There's lens flares in scenes where it makes no sense. Like, there's one scene where there's a couple of people walking through a dimly lit stairwell, and there's lens flares. It makes no sense, especially there. If you're looking for tits, a good movie for that, because essentially every major female character, and most of the minor, show their boobs throughout the movie at one point or another. That's one of the two good things I can say about the movie. But your dialogue is clunky. The acting it ranges from bad to awful. There's a kid actor at the beginning of the movie that's fucking terrible. But it's a kid actor, I can let it go. But one of the main characters is also really, really bad. The CGI... Let me talk for a second about the CGI. Okay. Number one, not a huge fan of CGI in horror movies unless it's CGI enhancing practical effects. I'm okay with that when it's used minimally. But when you're going to put CGI in your low-budget horror movie, hire somebody to do it. Don't use Blender to make your CGI, which is literally what they did. They used Blender. And it's awful. I have seen better CGI in $2,000 movies. And I mean that. The CGI is like the Scorpion King bad. It's like Anaconda bad. It's fucking atrocious. Especially when it's like tentacles from the creatures. There's scenes where the tentacles are wrapped around somebody and you can tell that it's like a foam appliance or whatever. You know, it's practical. I would much rather have seen all practical and had it look cheesy than be CGI and just look like shit, which it did. At least if it was cheesy and it was practical, I probably would have enjoyed it more because it would have been bad but funny. This was just bad and cringe-inducing. I just like spent every time they had CGI in there, I was like, oh god, this is fucking bad. The white balance, the white was oversaturated in many scenes, especially the scenes with the lens flares. Super oversaturated. Their color correction was atrocious. I don't use color correction, but I'm filming on an iPhone for a video review. If I was making a movie, I would be using color correction religiously. This movie seemed to have none because it's all bad. There's a couple of scenes where it's actually out of sync, and the movie just seemed to have an identity crisis.
Sometimes I feel like Jack the Ripper, 'cause I got an image out of control. Identity crisis.
It didn't really know what it wanted to be. Did it want to be a horror movie? Did it want to be a sci-fi movie? Did it want to be... It had a bunch of different ideas and didn't really successfully communicate any of them. The other one positive thing that I can say about it is that I did enjoy the reveal of the full monster at the end, especially when it was like stop motion, which is what it seemed to be. I did enjoy that. But the majority of the movie... Oh, also... Okay. In my personal opinion, indie horror, for the most part, unless you can make it work, should be 65 to 80 minutes. This was an hour and 45 minutes, but it felt like 3 seasons of a TV show. It just drug on forever. On top of everything, like, I can forgive the bad production values. It's a low budget movie. I'm sure lower than they're claiming. I can forgive the bad acting. I can forgive the bad effects. The bad CGI, I can't really forgive. But on top of everything, on top of the bad color correction, the overuse of lens flares, etc., 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 the thing that's just unforgivable in my opinion, the movie's fucking boring. Oh, and one thing, now I don't know if this was... I don't want to say that this was misleading or that it was... that the Wild Eye is lying, because I don't know. But on the back here, it says closed captioned, which I love because my hearing sucks. So when I can read as I'm watching, it actually does help me understand the movie more and be able to absorb more. But neither through my Blu-ray player nor through my TV, selecting captions there, did captions work. So I don't know if that was just an oversight or if they never made it onto the disc and they just forgot to take it off. But the captions don't work. That's a small thing because that's just a personal preference thing. Most people don't care to have the subtitles, but for me, it's a serious enhancement. And they're not there, even though it says it is. So that sucks. But so for a rating and a recommendation, personally, I can't recommend it. I'd say check out the trailer if you really, really, really think you want to check it out. I wouldn't tell you not to. I don't personally suggest it. As for a rating, there's so much wrong with this. And while it's certainly not the worst thing I've ever seen, I wouldn't even put it in the top 10. It's really bad. Out of a 10, I'm going to have to go with a 2. I mean, there were some nice boobies in there, so there's that. I did like the reveal of the monster at the end, so there's that. That's really all I can say positive about it. They finished their movie, but I didn't like it. It was way too long. And yeah. Wish I liked it more. I love the cover. I love it. And I mean, like, I'm not even mad about the fact that the cover doesn't represent the monster in the movie, because the cover can help sell the movie. I can't be mad about a deceptive cover, because deceptive covers have been around as long as there's been home video. So it is what it is. Wild Eye's kind of egregious when it comes to it, but whatever. Long story short, do I recommend it? No. I give it a 2 out of 10. Do with that what you will. If you still want to watch it, hey, maybe you'll like it, and I just didn't. Anyways, be sure to join me next time. Hopefully next week. Hopefully my work schedule lightens up a little bit and I can get some time to check this out, because I'm pretty excited to be checking out.
You won't feel a thing, I promise.
Crispy's Curse, as voted on during my live stream. I gave a few options. This was the one that got the most votes. Actually, it came down to a tie. Ended up flipping for it, and Crispy's Curse was the winner. So I'm excited to check that out. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to smash that like button if you haven't. Subscribe, click the notification bell, all that happy jazz. Be cool, be spoopy, and support independent horror. Deuces.
Tuesdays,